Welcome, everybody. It's the NFL season coming at us. Can you see it coming? Can you see it coming? And guess what? Vegas is already putting the bets down for the playoffs and the Super Bowl. We're going to be talking about that. But you know what the number one bet is at BetMGM right now as to who makes the playoffs? You know who the number one bet is? It's the Detroit Lions, the most popular bet, plus 350. If you bet 100, you win 350 for the Lions to make the playoffs. Can they do it? Welcome to the August 24th Father, Son, and Holy Sport Weekly NFL Podcast. I'm G-Man from Ohio. That's my man T-Money out there in Cali, bringing the sun and the fun to the podcast. What's up, T?
What's going on, G-Man? Oh, this is great. We're 1 week away from football happening, or 2 weeks. Sorry, 2 weeks away from football happening. Sorry, I get my college mixed up here. Excited for both, but yeah, excited out here. The Cali vibes, I love the Cali football times, and kickoff times are great here too. So just getting more excited every time we talk, man.
Yeah, we like to see those Cali teams joining the Big Ten where the real football's played, man. Get them in here and let's mix it up in some college ball this year. But speaking of NFL ball, we got the show here, jam-packed, 30-minute show for you today. Hey, we got the Ross Rundown. We're going to predict the NFC Division winners and losers. We're going to do a chug and chant for you with Cousin Randy. And we got a new fresh fantasy show for you fantasy managers. Get ready. If you like what you're seeing every week, press that like and subscribe. We appreciate your support, man. Look for our name on all the platforms at Father, Son, and Holy Sport. That's a great name, man. Hey, let's go to a T. Let's get to the NFL Ross Rundown. Starting with the NFC East, we're going to predict these winners and losers here, T-Money. What do you got on the NFC East? Who's going to win that?
I mean, I'm taking the easy way out going Cowboys, but I just think they have the best overall team, and there's a lot of question marks everywhere else. But, man, I'm kind of 50-50. I'm going to give you a lame answer, and I think it's going to come down to the last couple weeks of the season when the Cowboys play the Eagles, and the winner of that game is going to win the NFC East. I love the Eagles. I think they did a great job in the draft and in free agency, getting AJ Brown trade. Like they've done a lot of things, and the offensive line solid. Jalen Hurts could take a step this year. I really like everything about the Eagles. Something in my head is saying that the Cowboys are just going to win because they dominate this division. But my heart's saying Eagles, man. I just have a feeling the Eagles are going to somehow squeak this thing out. They made the playoffs last year, so why can't they win the division?
I agree. I agree with your sentiment. I'm going to agree with your pick too, T-Money. Eagles 9-8 last year. They'll be a little bit better this year. Sirianni has Hurts. They're working together. They got AJ Brown now coming over with Devontae Smith, and their defense is better. So I think they're going to be better, but I don't see them taking down the Cowboys. Cowboys are still the cream of the crop. They're one of the top 5 teams in the NFC last year going into the playoffs. They just can't get that big game run going with Dak Prescott. It's killing this team. They want to be there at the end in the playoffs, and I think this year they're going to be in the hunt this year. CeeDee Lamb, he's going to have to hold it up. They have had a lot of turnover at the wide receiver, but I think that defense will be strong. They'll get it done. I'm going to go in terms of the last place team, and you can give yours. Last place team, I'm going to go the Commanders. And last, I think the Giants take a step up, T-Money, get a little bit better with their new coach. And some of the players that were injured are back and contribute. I just don't see those Commanders getting much better. Carson Wentz, come on, man. I can't believe they banked on that guy. And with an average O-line, and now Chase Young hurt on defense, I just don't see those Commanders putting it together this year.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I'm going Giants for sure. I like Brian Dable, but I think they have one of the worst rosters, definitely like potentially a bottom 5 roster in the league. They don't, and outside of Kadarius Toney, if Saquon comes back, that's a great weapon, but offensive line is really bad. Daniel Jones has shown no progression, and the defense is terrible. I can't see them getting to 6 wins. I just don't even see that. I like the Giants' new direction with going and getting Dable. But even if I give them 6 wins, that's 2 more than last year. Washington had 7 last year, and they upgraded at quarterback and seemed
I don't know about that. I mean,
you think they upgraded at quarterback for sure.
I don't know about that, but okay. I had them close. I got them close there at the bottom, but those 2 are at the bottom.
You are a Carson Wentz hater. The guy might have been a top 15 quarterback last year, maybe top 12. Okay, he had a bad last game versus Jaguars.
He threw the ball backwards several times.
If he had won the Jaguars game and played a mediocre game, not even a bad game, just an okay game, and they make the playoffs, you'd be feeling a lot different about Carson Wentz. You're blaming a couple throws on him.
They should have made the playoffs, and they should have been contenders in the playoffs.
You're just upset because your guy JT didn't make the playoffs.
Excuse me.
He didn't show up either.
All right, let's move to the NFC North, and let's talk about the cold weather teams here from the NFC North. Who do you like there, man?
I'm going Minnesota. I am on the Minnesota train. All right. I like Minnesota over the Packers. I know the Packers have dominated this division for it seems like 20 years at this point, but I think it's all coming together for Minnesota, and they finally got out from under Mike Zimmer. Kirk Cousins had a really good season last year, 4,000 yards, 30 touchdowns. Like, the guy is sneaky good. They have an offensive first head coach now. I think if Thielen's healthy, that's 2 elite wide receivers, Dalvin Cook. The defense is great, and they're making trades right now to still bolster that defense. I really, really like Minnesota's direction, and I think the Packers are going to take a huge dip without those wide receivers, especially Devontae. It's going to be interesting because I think the Packers have a good defense, but a bad offense, which is surprising. But give me Minnesota. I'm doing it. I'm taking the leap. Minnesota's winning this division.
Yeah. I think the Vikings are going to close the gap on Green Bay, but they don't close it all the way, man. Green Bay gets this division. Aaron Rodgers is going to be fine. That receiving core is going to do okay. They also got Aaron Jones coming out of the backfield. I hear they're going to play Jones and Dillon at the same time, which means Jones, out catching passes. So don't forget about Jones catching passes, Dillon running the ball out there together. Their defense is better than Minnesota. I do think the gap closes. I just don't see the Packers letting this one go. They're going to win that division. I'm going last place on this. I think the Lions get better. The Lions get better. Dan Campbell, they don't want to lose. He's a fighter. His team's a fighter, and they've added more speed. They still got Jared Goff, man. That guy is just an albatross around whatever team he's on. But the Lions get better. They pass up the Bears.
Okay.
Bears end up in the cellar. I just don't see them helping Justin Fields. It's not your fault, Justin. I love you, Justin, you Buckeye, man. But you're not going to get the help, man. Justin's in last place.
Yeah, I tend to lean that direction, but I don't know. I like Justin Fields' talent, and their run game's still going to be solid. Allen Robinson and Khalil Mack not being there is a big deal, I think.
Yeah.
But the Lions are still the Lions, and Jared Goff is still the quarterback. Jamison Williams is maybe their best receiver, is coming off an ACL. Like, their defense
is in Vegas, man. Watch out.
Their defense is not going to be good. It's just not. I like Aiden Hutchinson. He's a Michigan guy. Like, love it. Go blue. But the Lions are going to be last. They're the Lions. I hope they aren't. Like, Detroit can experience a little bit of Cincinnati, the hope of a bad team suddenly becoming great. But yeah. I think the Lions are last. I just don't see it on paper.
All right, let's go over to the NFC South. What do you see in there, T-Money? Got this division with the Bucs in it.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is one is pretty clear. Tampa Bay won 13 games last year. They're going to run away with this division again. I think the Saints will be similar, 9-8. They're going to be solid, but no one's going to give them any sort of fuss in this division. So Tampa Bay is running away with this, even if Tom Brady's O-line's hurt and the defense isn't as great and they lost some people here and there. Godwin's coming off injury. They're going to run away. If they win 10 games, they'll win this division. And I think they win more than that. So it's easy pick here.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you there. I'm going Bucs all the way. They're coming together. I don't care if the Bruce Arians is gone. That probably helps them. So they are just a great team. Brady's holding this whole thing together. This thing's going to come crumbling down when he leaves. The Saints are going to be respectable. Their defense is stud, man. That defense is going to be good.
Yeah.
So they're going to be contenders in there. But I agree with you, man. I'm going in the last place there, looking at these two last place teams. It was Carolina last year that was last in this division. I think they get better. I'm counting on you, Baker. Come on, man. Bring that Ohio love, baby. Baker passes up the Falcons. Falcons end up in last. I saw them in the preseason game the other night. They did not look good, man. I mean, their coach, I do like. He wants to win, but he gets to win the game. So I'm going Falcons last.
Yep, agree with you there. I think the Falcons are going to be last. Again, this is a bottom 5 roster. They have no run game, no elite receiver. Kyle Pitts is great, and Drake London could be great, but no elite receiver. Their defense is atrocious. I mean, Mariota and Ritter have looked good in the preseason, but not good enough to where they're going to be carrying this team to anything above 6 wins. My God, they'll be lucky to get to 4. This is a bad team, bad roster. I like Arthur Smith, and this could be a complete reset. They'll probably draft a top 5 quarterback next year, whether that be Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, one of those guys, and then kind of turn the page. But this year, I mean, I think they're tanking on purpose at this point to go get one of those guys. So Falcons last, maybe the worst team in the league this year.
Second straight year. This is second year for Arthur Smith. So last year, not good for Arthur Smith. He can't, do another bad year in a row for Arthur Smith. I think he's got to pick it up. Hey, let's go to the NFC West, picking up the last prediction. The NFC West, that tough division, man. What do you like here?
I'm going Niners. All right. I think Trey Lance is going to take a step up. I think their system doesn't revolve around one person, right? And I think the Rams right now, Stafford's supposedly dealing with tendonitis in his arm. And if he misses any time, that's a loss. And the system with the Niners, the run game of the Niners, Cam Akers coming off an Achilles is a question mark to me. I like the Rams a lot, but they're so top heavy. If Donald misses a game, if Ramsey misses a game, if Stafford misses a game, these guys will lose that game. Whereas I don't know. There's probably some guy sitting on a couch right now that could come in and rush 100 yards in that San Francisco offense as running back. Like legitimately, they can throw anyone in there. They can scheme anyone open. Debo's a weapon at all levels. Like I like the Niners and Trey Lance to be special as a runner. So I think the Niners are going to win this division this year.
Yeah. Well, hey, you look at this division, 3 of the 4 teams made the playoffs last year. You look at those 3, the Rams, Cardinals, 49ers. I just don't see the Cardinals.
No,
I'm not putting my money on them. They have to show me that they're not going to implode. So they're out. I'm looking at the Rams versus the 49ers, and it comes down to, can Trey Lance outplay Matthew Stafford? And I'm going to say, yes, he can.
Ooh.
I'm going to agree with you, man.
Your boy Stafford.
49ers beat the Rams.
All right.
Twice last year. They got to the playoffs and lost by 3.
Yeah.
They're going to get over the hump this year. Stafford with the elbow issues is at the beginning of something. If he's injured, they're done.
Yeah.
They have nothing behind him. And I think that could happen. I love both teams. I think 49ers win it. I'm with you, man. They still got a lot of long players, a lot of great players on that team. So in terms of last, I think it's just by the other team's going to be last, the Seahawks. No Russell Wilson. Who's going to throw to Metcalf and Tyler Lockett? No offense there, but, man, I just don't see it. The running game, no one really that's sticking out. These guys are going to get crushed, man. They're going to be bad.
Yep, totally agree. I think Pete Carroll's delusional. He was just quoted saying we have 2 number 1 quarterbacks right now, and I think he's past his prime. This guy's got to go. I mean, Grandpa's got to go. This guy has to get out of the driver's seat up there in Seattle. He's lost his touch. He thinks running the ground and pound is the way to win games now. His defense, which he's known for, is atrocious and one of the worst in league history last year in pass defense. Seattle's clearly the last team in this division. And once again, along with the Falcons, maybe one of the worst teams in the NFL.
Hey, we've now dinged the Seattle for their quarterback situation. Last week we dinged the Browns for the quarterback situation. Why don't one of them go pick up Jimmy G, baby?
Yeah.
Go pick up Jimmy G, one of you two teams.
Yeah, they're going to cut him before the beginning of the season because as soon as he plays a game, his contract becomes guaranteed. So if they cut him right before the season, he'll be available most likely on the cheap for one of those two teams. Agree with you. Those guys should go after him.
Okay, way to bring in that contract stuff. I like that, team money. Good job.
Gotcha.
Hey, we are wrapping up here. We talked about the AFC last week. How about the NFC? The summary. Team Money and I picked the same in the East, West, and South. We go Dallas in the East, 49ers in the West, the Bucks in the South, but we're different in the NFC North. Team Money has the Vikings. G-Man goes Packers. Last year, the Packers were the number one seed coming in, but they and the Bucks and the Cowboys all had easy roads. And it was the Rams, Cardinals, and 49ers coming in that 4, 5, 6 slot in the playoffs, and the winner came out of that group. Yep. So we'll see what happens this year, man.
Oh, yeah, going to be interesting.
NFC rundown. So let's go next to our Chug and Chant, the segment y'all love. It's time to go inside somewhere. So he must be at some school somewhere. Let's go see Cousin Randy for this week's Chug and Chant.
Hey, welcome into this week's Chug and Chant. It's Cousin Randy coming to you live from the West Coast, but I'm going back to the best coast, and that's Cincinnati. I got a chant for someone that just graduated. Let's chug this, then chant. Woo! Cincinnati taught me two things: how to chug a beer and how to know Desmond Ritter's the real deal. Okay, he should be the starter of the Falcons, not Marcus Mariota. He had his time. He's done. It's the Ritter train now. Head coach Arthur Smith, you're new here. Why are you going back to some old guy? I know you want to win games, but you know you're not going to be good. You know you're not going to win a lot of games. You're going to be last. You're going to be fighting to get the number one pick next year. You need to figure out whether you got a dude in Desmond Ritter or you need to draft another quarterback. And I'm telling you, you got a dude. He went 10 for 13 in his preseason game this last week. Tons of drop balls, tons of flags. The dude was throwing dimes left and right, running the offense like it was. He knew it like the back of his hand. This guy is special, Falcons fans. I need you to understand this should be your starting quarterback. Marcus Mariota's not the next thing for you guys. He's not a starting quarterback in this league anymore. Desmond Ritter should be the starter. G-Man, T-Money, what do you think?
And there's Cousin Randy bringing it again, man. Going after the Cincinnati, getting that Cincinnati Bearcat blood going, man. And I agree with Randy. Ritter looked awesome in his preseason game so far. I love the way he looks, man.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you know me, Cincy all the way, baby. And people are going to say, hey, he went 10 for 22 in that first game, only 103 yards, right? But people aren't watching the games or looking at the stats. They had 5 drop passes. He had complete control of the offense. He had 2 touchdowns as well. So it would have been 17 of 22 or 15 of 22, sorry. And just the guy clearly is throwing dimes here. Marcus Mariota is a starter in this league. He's going to shred any of these preseason games because he's just seen better competition. He has 6 years in the NFL at this point. And for Ritter to look this good this early, I think he's got to get a chance. Like, what are you looking forward to? Like, what is Marcus Mariota going to do when you 4 games instead of 3 games? Like,
right.
Is that what you're going for this year? Like, I get it. Arthur Smith, like you said, another bad year, and he might be on the hot seat, but this roster is clearly bad. And I think everyone knows that, probably even Falcons management. Like, let's just give the guy you drafted, who's basically the new version of Marcus Mariota, a chance.
Yeah. Well, I agree with you, man. I agree with that too. And I agree with Randy. Ritter looking good. He did not get help from the offense, man. They had a lot of penalties. I think they had over 10 penalties, calling back plays left and right. He had 2nd and 25 and 1st and 20. I mean, the guy just had a tough time.
And he was shredding them. I mean,
he did not get them in the end zone. That's the only thing I had a problem with, but that's because of all the penalties that they had. But his completion percentage through 2 games, 2 preseason games, 61.5%. He's led 4 scoring drives. 2 were touchdowns. So he has shown that he can do it. They were 7-10 last year. Come on, man. Do what Randy says. Put him in. Give him a shot.
I know. I mean, at this point, I'd be shocked if 8 games in they don't give him a look, because like you're out of playoff contention at that point, most likely if you're like 2-6. So I don't know. I'm a little perplexed. I think Marcus Mariota's got to know his position. Like, you're not a starter anymore, especially when you come to a bad team like this. Like, what do you expect Marcus Mariota to drag this team to the playoffs? Like, he could barely get Tennessee to the playoffs. And they were good. So let's not act like Marcus Mariota is something other than a backup in this league now. Like, what are we expecting? Like, let's give the new guy some reps.
And they asked Ritter about some of the bad plays that happened. He said, you're going to have setbacks. You're going to have negative plays. But the most important play is the next play. Very well said there.
Well, Tiger Woods action there, huh?
Ritter, yeah. Hey, the Falcons will close out the preseason at home against the Jags Saturday at 3. And let's roll on, man. Let's keep going with our show here today.
Let's do it.
You've got some nice information here, some nice entertainment, and some nice picks for you. But you haven't had fantasy yet. Let's go to fantasy. Let's talk some fantasy. All you fantasy managers coming up,
baby,
to your league draft coming up, man. We're going to get you ready with a special hot and cold segment. Hot and cold, man. We're going to talk about some of the hot players in the drafts that have been happening already, some of the cold players in the drafts that have been happening already. We've analyzed that stuff, so we can tell you. Let's go first to the hot players, T, and let's talk about 2 must-draft players. All right, you pick one, I'll pick one, you pick one, and so on. And then I got a little comparison to show you. How about your must-draft?
You're the boss. My first must-draft here is, if you can get this guy, it's Justin Jefferson. I just think there's can't miss with him.
Wow.
You know, people are going to say Cooper Kupp. Well, you know, I like Allen Robinson a lot right now, and I think they're going to focus on the run game to save Matthew Stafford a tendonitis in his arm a little bit. They didn't have Robert Woods for the full season. Cooper Kupp just had an all-time season. For guys to do that multiple years in a row, that's a big ask, right? That's just, he's gonna regress. So give me Justin Jefferson, because not only did was he 4th in receptions, 2nd in yards, but he's now in an even better offense. All right. He's in a pass first offense. Thielen being back and healthy gives, they should alleviate some pressure that typically comes on him. He could have an even bigger year this year with Kirk Cousins taking a step as a passer and the offense the head coach being focused offense first here. I really like Justin Jefferson to lead potentially fantasy football in scoring.
I like him. That's a good pick. That's a good pick. He's not the best LSU player out there, though. I'll tell you that.
I know.
The best LSU player is over on the Bengals, but I love that pick. I do love your pick. Let me go over to someone a little bit further down the draft board that I really like. He's wide receiver 13, Michael Pittman, the guy behind me. You see that picture behind me, Team Money? Hey, solid year last year with Wentz, but now we move to Matty Ice. Matty Ice is going to help Michael Pittman. I'm going to give you a little stat, man. From 2008 to 2020, Matt Ryan's top wide receiver averaged 156 targets per year and finished as a top 10 fantasy wideout in all but one of those seasons. Michael Pittman, good pick there, must have.
Nope, I like it. Now, caveat that it was Julio Jones for a majority of that, all-time great receiver, but agree with you. And I'm a piggyback for you, give you a little boost. Frank Reich just quoted saying, we can't be a ground and pound offense. Those don't win Super Bowls. So, they're going to try to pass the ball more than they ever have, especially with Matt Ryan coming in. I like it a lot, G-Man.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. My second must-have here, Aaron Jones. All right. I think a lot of guys are sleeping on Aaron Jones right now. He's going at about 9 or 10 running back wise in a lot of the fantasy drafts and PPR. And people are high on AJ Dillon. And look, I like AJ Dillon. That dude might be Quadzilla 2.0. He's just massive, but he's still their best running back. He's still on a big time contract. So they're going to give him the ball. but he also might be the best receiver on that team. And like we talked about earlier in the show, G-Man, even when A.J. Dillon is on the field, Aaron Jones is going to line up at receiver in maybe some sort of wishbone package where he flares out. This guy's going to get plenty of run touches and still line up as a receiver and he's just going to get all the touches. Aaron Rodgers only throws to guys he trusts, and Aaron Jones is going to be the benefit of that. I love Aaron Jones to maybe be top 5, top 3 guy this year. I think he's being criminally underrated.
All right. Hey, I love him. I love him too. You're obviously talking to the draft managers and who they're going to take with those first few picks. These are some great picks that you're bringing up. I'm coming down a little bit further into that second, third round realm, and maybe a little bit further, giving you some guys I think can start and score a lot of points for your team. I'm going down to, let's go down to number 28, RB 28, Kareem Hunt.
Oh.
I like Kareem Hunt this year. His contract expires in 2023, so a lot of incentive here. And if he ends up at another team, he could be the number 1 at some other team. He only played 8 games last year due to calf injury, and he killed it in those 8 games. He averaged 17 fantasy points per game before he got hurt.
Yeah.
So he's got some upside, man. This guy has some upside. If they ever let him loose, he's going to be great. He's 6th ranked yards after contact. I like Kareem Hunt here, man, as a must-have.
All right. I like him too. He's being very underdrafted right now. But he's automatically an RB1 if Nick Chubb goes down, and can be a playable flex even when Nick Chubb is healthy. I like him a lot as well, G.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned where he's being drafted, because my next little question here for you, I went up and grabbed the rankings of the players being drafted higher than what the experts are saying. That's ECR versus ADP. ECR is the consensus ranking, the expert ranking. ADP is the average draft position of people like you and me that are in the draft. So it's where they're drafted versus where they're ranked by the experts. And these guys I'm going to tell you right here, I want to get your reaction to them. These guys are getting love in the drafts. The draft managers love them a lot more than what the experts are saying. What do you think, man? That means they're going to draft them earlier than you think. All right, here's the top 5. TJ Hawkinson from Detroit. We got DeAndre Hopkins from Arizona, Hunter Renfrow, Antonio Gibson, Adam Thielen, and one of the guys, 8th, the highest ranked guy, Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb is getting drafted, and he's ranked 27. He's getting drafted 10 spots earlier than that.
Yeah, well, you got a question for me, G? What do you want from me?
What do you think about that? Do you think those guys are getting drafted earlier than the experts think?
I mean, I don't have the list of all 10 guys you just named off. I don't have that good of a memory, but TJ Hawkinson, I'm okay on.
Nick Chubb, what do you think about Nick Chubb?
I'm not sold on him. Nick Chubb, I like early, especially those first 11 games. He's going to be the focus of the offense. Jacoby Brissett's not going to light the world on fire. Adam Thielen,
you're not alone. You're not alone.
I'm up on Adam Thielen. I do think he's going to have a big year because of the pass first offense the Vikings are moving into and all the pressure going to Cook and Jefferson. TJ Hawkinson, not sold on. I think he's going to get a lot of targets, but Jared Goff's throwing him the ball. Amon St. Brown is killing it. I like him. Jameson Williams coming back in the second half of the year is going to slow him down. Who are the others you were naming there? I can't even remember.
Well, I think some of the issue is that they're ranked so low that people are drafting them at the regular positions. Like Adam Thielen's ranked 78th, but people are drafting him sooner.
Yeah.
They think that he's going to do what he always has done. Whereas I think the experts see him falling back.
Yeah, you might be right. I don't know.
So interesting, man. All right. He's a wide receiver 34, Thielen, but 78th overall. But that's interesting there. When you're in your draft, you got to know, hey, where are these players going to get drafted higher than what the experts are saying? Or are they going to get drafted lower? I'm going to show you the lower list in a minute. Let's go to the cold. We're going to go to 2 must-avoid players each. T-Money, who must we avoid here on your list?
Derrick Henry, man. Derrick Henry's a
Woo!
must avoid for me.
You're going big time.
He's getting too old. He's had too many touches. He's had too many little injuries here as of late in the past few years. I think now defenses with the loss of A.J. Brown, he is the sole focus. They're going to stack that box because Tannehill's not good enough to spread that ball around. And Robert Woods is not going to be the reason that defensive backs have to, go back in the back go back deep and coming off an injury. So I just think Derrick Henry is a big ask this year to continuously be one of the top 3 running backs in the league. I'd rather have a guy like Najee, who's great in the pass game, or Dalvin Cook, who is, still young, great offensive scheme, and has Justin Jefferson out there to alleviate some of that pain. I think Derrick Henry is going to have a lesser year than people think.
Hey, I could see that happening, man. They could stack the box on him unless that rookie wide receiver gets going out there.
Yeah.
Hey, or Malik. Malik could do something at quarterback.
If they bring in Malik, I like Derrick Henry, but I don't like Derrick Henry if Tannehill's a starter.
Well, we are each trying to pick a running back and a wide receiver. My cold running back. I'm going to say Damian Harris. Damian Harris on the cold. Not that I don't like Damian Harris. I do like Damian Harris. I just think they're going to this 50-50 split with him and Ramondre, and everybody's going to lose. People are going to be so frustrated by New England. And I think they forget the frustration that they had last year because remember, James White was there and it was even worse. So this could be another frustration. You go for Damian Harris, and they 50-50 split, which they had in the 6 games they played together last year. They averaged 9 points each, 9 fantasy points each. If they combine that, that's 18 points. And that's a great running back day. But they're averaging 9 points each, and that's not good to anybody. I say Damian Harris is a must avoid.
Yeah, I'm not high on him. I do like Ramondre Stevenson, maybe later in rounds. But yeah, I agree with you. I think there's going to be a big 50-50 split here. I don't see anyone. I think they're going to go.
Said it. They said they're going to go 50-50.
Yeah, I think they're going to go series for series, leave the guys on the field so that they don't, I think Belichick has been said they doesn't like having to, if they had LeGarrette Blount in there, they knew they were running. If they had James White in there, they knew they were throwing, right? They don't want that anymore. So they're going to leave one guy on the field at all times, and they're going to split it 50-50. Agree with you. I like the pick. My other receiver to avoid, though, A.J. Brown, all right? Injured last year. Hurts is a worse thrower than Tannehill is, especially with the deep ball. And Devontae Smith is a better number 2 than Brown has ever played with and has rapport with Jalen Hurts. So I just think A.J. Brown can't expect to have a better year than he's had in past. And not only that, especially in the red zone, A.J. Brown's a big target. I think that Hurts' running ability will take away the availability of touchdowns on that offense. So I think when they're going deep, they're going to be looking Devontae Smith. When they're going short, they're going to be Hurts' run game and Miles Sanders and those boys. So A.J. Brown's really only the middle of the field and, in between those linebacker safeties. And I just don't think Hurts is a good enough thrower to carry 2,000-yard receivers, which is everyone is expecting, let alone an elite, maybe wide receiver 1 in A.J. Brown. I don't see that happening. I see him having a kind of an off year this year.
Whoa. That's a big name. That's a big name. Yeah. Your Philly team, man. Hey, I'm going to go. I like 2 that I would put on here, but my top must avoid. I'm going to say no on Michael Thomas. I'm not buying on Michael Thomas. Now he's got a hamstring injury.
Yeah.
Come on, man. This guy, no, I'm not going to bet on this guy. He hasn't played for 2 years, and now he's injured before we even get to the first game.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. No, I can't take it. I like Olave. Olave could be the surprise pick here. He could come in and take the whole thing.
Yeah.
Jarvis Landry will be good. He'll be solid in the middle of the field, getting his big catches when they need it on third down. But Olave could be the man here. I say no on Michael Thomas.
Yep, I feel you. I just don't ever want to get part of that stock. Missed 2 years basically. Well, if he fell 5 rounds after his ADP was, then sure, why not? That'd be great. I'll snag him up when it's either him or McCole Hardman. Sure, I'll take a flyer on Michael Thomas. But yeah, I agree with you. He's just been too injured, getting too old. Jameis Winston's not Drew Brees. I don't know. Already injured. I feel you, man.
Hey, let's go to wrapping this segment up, talking about the cold players. How about some of the players that are getting drafted lower than they should be, according to the experts anyway? Their ECR versus ADP. And so there is a big gap. One of them is surprising. Rashad Bateman, Baltimore wide receiver, is not getting the love in the draft. He's ranked 61st overall. He's the 28th wide receiver, but people are picking him a lot lower, which means if you like Rashad Bateman, you can pick him up later than you think if your draft goes like that.
Yeah, I've seen that as well. Rashad is fallen in drafts. I just think people don't trust Lamar Jackson for the consistency. And I think when you're going for wide receiver 1s and 2s, you're looking for consistency. You'd rather have a guy that's going to get you 13 both weeks instead of one guy that's going to get you 20 and 8. Right.
And then yeah, that's right. And then one of the big running backs falling off here, Chase Edmonds. Chase Edmonds ranked as the 25th running back, running for Miami this year, but people are not drafting him. I think it might be that Miami backfield, man. You get stuck in that Miami backfield, you might never come out.
I know. And I agree with you. I like Chase Edmonds. He's said to be the starter and having a good camp. But I think you look at last year, James Conner got a lot of work with the Cardinals when he was there. And you look what Mike McDaniels is coming from, the Shanahan system, where they are just constantly rotating running backs, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we have Elijah Mitchell, who no one knew about a year ago. I mean, I think he was playing in the XFL. So, I mean, this is what that system does. You have Raheem Mostert, who's been in the system. You have Myles Gaskin and Chase Edmonds, all good running backs, but no one's great. They're going to rotate through these guys. And so when there's most likely a rotation and that's the type of system, you're not as confident. And I wouldn't be either getting Chase Edmonds at his current ECR. I can see his ADP falling.
Well, hey, T, it's been great to kick off the new Fresh Fantasy show here today with you. We got our draft this Saturday night, man. I know you got some other leagues you're in. Best of luck on the draft on Saturday night, man.
Hey, you too, man. I can't wait. Excited to kick off some fantasy.
Hey, we hope you're loving the Father, Son, and Holy Sport podcast. If you love the show like we love you, press that like and subscribe. And if you're interested in being a sponsor or a guest on our show, reach out to us. Look for us on all the platforms at Father, Son, and Holy Sport. And look for our website, man. Got merchandise. Get some merchandise for the season. Get yourself dressed up in some Father, Son sports gear. And next week, we'll bring out the bets for you. The big bet show is coming back next week as the games start approaching. On behalf of T-Money, I'm G-Man. Hey, see you next week.
All right. Peace.